Can you hear me? Welcome to the 100 TV. Real conversations with real people.
All of this has been an evolution. Like, nothing about this journey is how I thought it was going to be. You know, shout out to the Free Game Society, man. Shout out to everybody, Team 100. Shout out to everybody that just keeps rocking, that understands what's going on here. We're just trying to make changes without compromising the truth, right? We're not up here just for the views. We're here for the impact. But you know, you be the judge, man. Lock in with us. We can agree to disagree, you know. But regardless, we're going to keep it 100. You can't keep it 100 with anybody unless you keep it 100 with yourself, man. Let's be clear. You gotta come correct, man. They'll pick you apart nowadays, man. People doing homework, you know what I'm talking about? So when we talk, we talking from a perspective of experience. We talking through the life journey. Peace to the planet Earth, y'all. On this wonderful Friday, we switching it up a little bit. I know we usually going live around 6 p.m. Eastern, but today, if you're not big into the holidays, at least hopefully you got some off time, some downtime, and we're here on a Friday, Black Friday. It's a good Friday for me. Hopefully, it's a good Friday for you. Today, we doing something different. We handing the show off. I'm always grateful for the opportunity to network with people. I've said since the beginning of this thing, the journey has been what it's been because of the path that we took. We focused on connecting with people in certain lanes, and sometimes people reached out to us. So shout out to that. Today we have Miss Kristen from Arts Heal Restore. On that note, I'm gonna go ahead and allow you to introduce yourself, and then the floor is yours.
What's up, everybody? Happy belated Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday. Hope you got a little bit of shopping in. As Christopher said, I'm from Arts Heal Restore, and I'm basically here to talk about the restorative justice process. So just a little bit of background on me. I am a graduate student at San Diego State University in San Diego, California. And so basically for one of my classes, we have to do a social justice campaign. And my focus is restorative justice because that's what my passion is. I focus on the arts-based side of things. And so basically restorative justice is based on an indigenous practice of getting the community to help an offender talk to the victim, talk to whomever that person harmed instead of punishment, and in order to heal that process. And so basically what our criminal justice system does, it doesn't heal, it just punishes. So it's not effective at all. And so basically what restorative justice process does, it allows the victim and the offender to heal because they're able to directly communicate with each other and heal that process. I'm apologizing in advance. I have a cat. He is just not, as soon as I get on the computer, he wants to have his own FaceTime. So he might peep in.
Shout out to the cats.
So basically it's therapeutic for the victim. It's therapeutic for the offender as well. It's safe space for both of them to express their feelings. You know, pretty much most of us on the planet, we've all experienced some type of trauma, which is usually why we do something, you know, somehow we offend somebody in some way, you know, and so that's basically what it is. For my side, I like to focus on the arts because that's what my undergrad is. I'm a painter. So that's what I do. And it's very healing. It's very therapeutic. It's a way of expressing your emotions and your feelings and getting those things out. And so that's why I want to focus on the arts, because I just think it's something it's something from within that you can express. No one's telling you what to do. It comes from within. And so that's why I want to focus on the art side of it. So that's basically why we're here today. So just, want to ask some questions of someone who's been through that process of incarceration and just to know what it would have meant on the other side if, you would have been able to go through the restorative justice process. So just have a few questions for you to see how things would have went differently if you would have been exposed to the restorative justice process.
Man, I can tell you ahead of time, they probably most definitely would have. But I'm ready for these questions though. And I just want to say before I was excited to have you up here because obviously we know the cycle has continued. It's been years and years, the same approaches, same results for the most part. The numbers kind of stick within the same ranges when it comes to recidivism and all these other numbers. Mm-hmm. So definitely before we get into it, thank you for the new approach or another new approach.
Yeah, we're actually the numbers haven't cut. The last numbers were 2020, I believe. And they're estimating 2 million incarcerated for 2022. We are the world leader in incarceration. World leader in incarceration. And it just
doesn't add up.
For what? Why?
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be quiet. I know you got questions, so I'm right here though.
All right. So first question is basically, had you known about the restorative justice process before being sentenced to incarceration, would you have agreed to the process? So basically what that means is you would have to have direct contact with the individual. It could be the individual, it could be the community. And first you would have to admit the wrongdoing and then ask for the restorative justice to be implemented to be able to start that process.
All right, so yes, I would have definitely, in my case, when I got in trouble, it was my first time ever getting in trouble. And I'm just gonna say about my case, because I feel like it can get tricky depending on the case.
Yes.
But in my situation, my circumstance, I was the driver in an armed robbery. I didn't enter the establishment. Nobody got harmed physically, but I obviously understand now more mature, etc. People were harmed mentally and emotionally. But I would have, I remember asking for the opportunity to just tell the people, like, I apologize, like anything, I was not the guy that went in there. This is what happened, but I wasn't given that opportunity. I feel like that definitely, if they would have knew the specific part I played, etc., I feel like it might have changed some things, especially hearing from me, knowing that I was definitely, I was apologetic.
Right, exactly. Do you feel, and I don't know if you've had trauma, I'm just assuming because most of us do. I know I've definitely had trauma. I know other people have had trauma. I'm just assuming that everybody on the planet has trauma. That's just an assumption on my part. So do you believe that the restorative justice process would have helped you heal from your trauma?
Yeah, I feel we do an injustice as individuals or as a society when we don't put healing in place. I feel that it definitely helps. I just know that approach, being able to have that connection, and that opportunity to be heard, in a different way. And you even, a couple, a minute ago or not, you said you would have to admit. I think a lot of times when people are in a situation, they want accountability and they want answers.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it definitely, yeah.
And that's essentially what the victim wants. And again, in some instances, like I just learned that my good friend's grandson is facing some time, and he doesn't have an actual victim. The victim in his case is technically the state. He basically made a gun, and so there's no actual victim. So it would be the community. In his case, it would be the community that's harmed, and so it would be, for his case, if the restorative justice process was implemented, it would be the community that he would have a representative or whatever that he would have that conversation with. But it's like, the questions that the community would ask, be like, well, why did you do it? And, if there was a victim, if he pointed the gun at a victim or something like that, we're like, well, why? Like, why did you choose me? Why didn't you choose the person next to me? Or why didn't you, go a block away and choose that person down the street? It's like they just want to know why. They want that closure, so it's always good for the victim to know why, so that they can have that closure.
Yeah, and then the healing aspect attached to trauma, it's I mean, you got a large percentage of kids from 17 to 21 that are getting incarcerated, and the majority of them, when you look at them, are African American or Hispanic, and they grew up in the hood and they suffered, I would say, devastating amounts of trauma. I grew up in Chicago. So, and then I grew from the city, living in Chicago, I went to the military at 17 during 9/11. So
you see a lot of things, and communities of color, we don't talk about those things.
Nah,
we don't have those types of
starting to.
Yeah, we're starting to. But it's the trauma's already there. So it's like we definitely need to have those conversations so that we can heal. But that trauma is already there. So what would you say to your victim if you had the chance?
Oh man, I mean, we talking about present day or in that moment? Back then,
either or.
I mean, in that moment, I would have just told them, I don't know. I would have asked for the opportunity to show them that I wasn't that person. That I literally was a 19-year-old kid that chose to be a follower for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I would have asked for the opportunity to show them that I was serving my country, United States Air Force, that, and I don't mind, I go on record and speak, I was following an older family member, thinking I was loyal. I would have just loved the opportunity to just speak those things then. And then now, I guess, if any of the victims that were in my case could see me now, and maybe they do, I don't know, the way social media is, I guess in this situation, know that if I would have had the opportunity, I would have been on the same path, because I'm success. I'm a husband. I'm a volunteer. I'm a business owner. I'm all these things now that I should have been. I had a delay, and I understand, but I just think things would have been different if I could have been heard, because I did not get to get heard. I didn't get go in front of a jury, not even in the courtroom, for real. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate side of our criminal justice system, that neither side gets to truly be heard and understood. And if like Philadelphia, they just opened an actual restorative justice court. So that's what they process. And I just feel like that's the only way that you can truly get heard. You know what I mean? Like, both sides can get heard. You can get that out. You can let them know, like, this isn't something that I really want to do. And, maybe if I had a different opportunity, I wouldn't have had this 16, almost 17-year delay. I would have been able to make amends sooner.
And I just want to say to that too, if we had, and I'm coming from this perspective again, but if us as so-called minority young males, young females, etc., that fall into to the system, if we had the opportunity to really sit in front of different rooms, different ears, different eyes, and maybe even in a different setting, but when you're a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 22-year-old, and you're sitting there in a courtroom with a public defendant in front of a jury that 9 times out of 10 may not reflect you. Man, it's daunting. And then when you look at, once you're in the system, when you talk about being able to speak to the victims, even if the victim wasn't ready prior to his sentencing or her sentencing, even if there was an opportunity, maybe halfway into the sentence or whatever it is, so they can see growth or see a change or just a different perspective, man. I definitely I agree with it.
So then what would you say to the victim, like present day, if you were able to have that conversation?
Oh man, I would just tell them I'm anti whoever that kid was now present day. Now I'm a principal that challenges, younger people to do better. Now I speak at, events, or I'm getting messages from social media because I'm speaking out against kids in the streets, or, specifically, young people of color. I'm just on a different path. I definitely learned my lesson. And if they would have let me out that next day, I'm pretty sure I
Yeah.
wouldn't. Yeah, I can almost. Yeah, but at the same time, I get it. I understand the system. As a 39-year-old man today versus a 19, I understand the system that I became a part of that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So like I said earlier, my background is art, which is why I'm choosing the art side of it. There's so many sides to restorative justice process. Art for me is just, I love art. I love creativity. So given the tools and techniques, like it could be like I keep focusing on Philadelphia just because they have so many different programs, but they have mural arts there. So they literally do murals. It could be painting. Here we have Prison Arts Collective that I'm on the advisory board. And so they actually go into the prisons and actually teach different, classes. So there's amazing, amazing artists that are, in the prison system. So given the tools to draw a picture or paint, what do you think that you would paint or draw? If whether you had the talent or not, what do you think that you would draw or paint?
Me?
Yes.
My answer might be different. I would say a blueprint. I would
Okay.
draw a blueprint because I just think, where I'm coming from, I was locked up in VA. So I was always around the artists, and I know that there's guys that could have went to the NBA, sign all that. They're locked up. But I would draw a blueprint, man. But just because I'm always a thinker,
Okay.
and I would just try to express. And I know I was part of an arts program while I was incarcerated. I was able to help start. And what we learned was creativity was expression, and expression led to healing. Because some guys couldn't speak, they weren't able to verbalize, but they could put it on paper. And then sometimes that would turn into conversation. So yeah, man. Yeah.
So what would your blueprint be like? Blueprint for life? Would it, be Jay-Z blueprint? What would your blueprint be?
No, I'm a very, very, people say I'm really serious. My blueprint would be showing, if I was incarcerated drawing, it would be showing people how to actually fix the system. Because I think it's time to start listening to people that actually went through the system, going through the system. So I think it would be a blueprint reflecting that sort of thought. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think you should work on that now.
I have, just it's not on paper. Man, we've been connecting the dots and putting there's a lot of guys, men and women, that are working that used to be behind the walls they the blueprint, man. They doing a lot of stuff in the communities. I got one guy getting ready to run for political office. I'm like,
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I like that. Okay.
Maybe me one day. Maybe. No.
Okay, so I only have one more question. So now that you have learned more about restorative justice, do you plan on sharing the information with others, especially those who may be facing incarceration? And, how would you share that information with those?
It would be easy to share that information with my circle, right? And my circle doesn't just include, ex-felons. It includes people that wear uniforms and all that. Okay. But in my circle, we have a certain way of thinking. We understand we're about healing. We're about being proactive before we even get to the point of, a crime being committed. We're working on those things right now.
Right.
But I don't know, man. It's just, can I say something? I just want to go over to, I think I definitely would push it, but my concern would be who's actually going to listen.
Right.
I think that's how I'm trying to say it, because for years we've brought up different approaches, and this is I'm not gonna say it's, to me, it's refreshing hearing it from somebody on the outside. I'm gonna say, because I got a buddy of mine, Jefferson Ellie, who's incarcerated. He's working on a program for guys to be able to go to the music room just so they can express, but they got to be positive songs. And so I would definitely push creation. I would definitely push anything with the arts. I would definitely put the restorative aspect, but I would work on, man, just getting people in position that could actually get the other side of the aisle to listen. Because
Yeah.
there's still that old way of thinking, and we know at the end of the day, when you look at prison, it's big money, it's big business,
And that's the
you know.
hard part, because
I would tell everybody, hey, this could work. You got to try, whether you agree with it. And I would say anybody that sees this, whether you agree with it 100%, you can agree with the fact that not much has changed from the same approaches. So why not? But I think from my perspective, I would support it. I would tell people about it, but I don't know if the right people will listen. We'll see.
I mean, that's honestly, like, in my sociology class, a lot of the different theories is slightly racist, and definitely, you know, old Anglo-Saxon way of thinking, eugenics, something wrong with us type of thinking, very, very old, and it needs to be updated. But a very large part of everything is money related when it comes to prison. So why would they reform it if it's bringing in money? You know what I'm saying? So it's very hard to get people to listen to the restorative justice process and anything that even sounds remotely familiar to it, because money.
Yeah.
If you're not
But
putting people in prison, that's less money.
right, because when you look at it, restorative aspect or that process would actually save, I don't even know, that would save millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. Potentially, you got to say if it works out, but I'm sure out of 100%, I feel like 50% of the people, they wouldn't be in prison. I feel like their victims would be like, oh, that was a 19-year-old kid that didn't have guidance. He don't need to go to prison. He needs therapy. Or so, yeah. But
I actually have an infographic on my Twitter page now that actually has like some of the stats on there, but it would save billions. It would literally save billions.
I believe it. Yeah. And what I mean, but we just talked about it, and it's not just with that. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But they did just put out on, I heard on the Breakfast Club, I didn't fact check it, so I might be wrong, but they said there's legislation to end slavery in the prison system, which is crazy that you have to have legislation to end slavery in 2022, even in the prison system. But
yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, people have to vote on those things, so
yeah,
I'll believe it when I see it.
Right.
It's gonna happen. Things.
Those are some good questions.
Yeah, those were the only questions I have. You have any questions for me?
No, I mean, yeah, I guess before we wrap this up, please tell everybody just what Arts Heal Restore is about, or where you're going with this, what your goals are, how people can help, just anything that people need to know about what's going on. I definitely think it's some good information people need to know about.
Yeah. So like I said, initially this was, it's a class project. We all have our social justice campaigns on different platforms. My goal is to eventually open my own nonprofit, arts restorative justice, to anything creatively. It could be, I've been meeting people in the entertainment industry when it comes to like movies. So like, getting people on movie sets. So it's not just about painting, dance, just all aspects of creativity, whether it's like poetry, writing music, audio, visual, all those things. so that they can have that creative outlet to channel their emotions, and not just having the creative outlet, but also being able to get, if you're having some mental instability issues, getting some help with that. So it's like, it's not just like, I want people to be able to get whatever help they need. If they're having housing insecurity, I want them to be able to have resources for those things, because even like working on campus, students have housing insecurities. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, these days, especially with the pandemic, there's so many different things that we have to deal with. And it's like, it just makes it even harder. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I want people to have like whatever resources that they need. Like, I want people to have them. So that's what my goal is. So even though this started, at least as far as my Twitter page started as a school project, eventually it's going to be like my business page once I open up my nonprofit. But once school, this is technically my last semester of actual classes. I graduated in May. But thank you. I'm going to continue to post on restorative justice, just put information out there, try to, connect with people. So, the page will stay there as long as, Elon doesn't continue to get crazy. Might have to switch platforms. Don't know, but
I just got on Twitter, so I like a week before. I was never on Twitter like that. Now I'm on there, and then the takeover. So I'm just like, okay.
I wasn't. I like on my personal page, I don't really tweet or anything like that myself. So I'm like, oh, you take over, and now it's going crazy. So might have to switch, but we'll see. But for for now, I'll keep doing what I do. But yeah, that's my goals with that.
I would say definitely. Well, I just want to encourage you, Keith. I think you're on to something, especially when you say it'll save billions. Makes sense, because that money can definitely go to different places where it's needed.
Yes.
Again, want to salute to you. Salute to your work. So even though you said it started off, as a project, I think a lot of times that's how we ended up on the paths that we end up. We end up trying something or experiencing something, and we're like, okay. So yeah. Salute to you. I can definitely speak on behalf of countless people, man, that have been impacted by the system. We need more people like you. So definitely appreciative. And man, anytime, you welcome back anytime. You got any other projects, questions, etc. Anything I can help you with, definitely here for you. Definitely salute to you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blessing. Thank you so much.
Yes. To each and every one of y'all, man. We did something different this Friday, a little bit earlier, a little bit shorter, but I think it was definitely really impactful. Check out Kristen. Make sure you follow on Twitter at Arts Heal Restore. Get into the work and take some time to really, if you're looking at this interview, get into the information on her Twitter, because I'm sure there's going to be some other perspectives and obviously some more information up there. And then maybe you guys can get involved. Shout out to Twitter. At least I tell everybody, man, to me, I got my my blow up in social media off TikTok, and we were doing awareness content over there, started going, to YouTube. But Twitter is a different place. And if you want to find people that are in the lanes for advocacy, just people that are having conversations about mass incarceration, etc., go check Twitter out. And that's it, man. Network. Your network is your net worth, and that's it. Until then, we're back up here tomorrow. No, excuse me. I'm on DJ Sincere's show at Dirty Talk Radio tomorrow, man. But I'm gonna live stream from here as well. I'm getting everything mixed up. Till next time, peace, love, and blessings. And that's it. And that's all. Peace.
Peace.